Hello everybody, it's your boy APT, aka Aaron, and I'm doing a video now because I have officially reached what I call the end of phase 2 of my 3-phase plan. So for those of you that have been following my Facebook post over the years and my YouTube stuff, you know that I had a dream of going initially to Hawaii, which I did in 2013. And so the next dream for travel-wise was to go to Australia. I figured it'd be a bigger goal than Hawaii. Like Hawaii, it took me years to be able to actually do that trip. And when I went, I had a great time. And the next thing I wanted to do was be able to have my life set up in a way whereby I could afford to do a trip to Australia for like a week and not be struggling. And so I'd say I've pretty much completed that goal. My life is set up now in a way where I have the flexibility to kind of travel when I want to. I make money in a variety of different ways. And so because of that, it now allows me the chances, if I choose to take them, to be able to go places as long as I can afford to go. So usually if I know in advance, I can, save up a little bit and then be able to travel to that place and actually like eat and experience things and have a good time without like starving or just getting there and then being like, I gotta be alone all the time. Okay. So anyway, so every time I do these big trips, I consider these the end of phases, meaning that I completed a life goal. So, but I do find it interesting that some of these things tend to repeat themselves. For example, when I went to Hawaii, that was at a point where I had just got enough money to get my own place and get a car, and then I went to Hawaii. And then this time, I got another place. I upgraded my car from what I had before to now I have a Prius, which I absolutely love, and the trip was a little bit bigger in scope. So I was happy that I was able to make the trip. Now, with that said, I have found that the actual experience of the 2 trips thus far have been different. With Hawaii, I think I had some kind of, I'll talk about that in a minute. I had some kind of expectation of like, oh, I'm going to an island, there's luau's and scuba diving and things to expect, and I don't know what I'm going to do. And then when I got there, it was actually even better than I imagined it. Like the amount of just the culture there, the things I was able to get into. They had a spam festival while I was there. It was kind of weird. I got to see all different kinds of animals and go on these different types of tours. And I was only there for 4 days, which I found, by the way, for me is great. I only need 4 days worth of vacation before I'm ready to go home. So with Hawaii, it was a little bit closer to, it was only like a 5-hour plane ride to Hawaii. So I figured, I'd do 4 days there, come back, be good. And when I left, I felt that there was still more I could do. So I had a great time in Hawaii. That was that experience. Sydney's been a little bit different. I can't say I had any expectations coming here. Like all I knew was that I wanted to go to Australia. It was a goal and I wanted to do it. I didn't actually know what I wanted to do once I got here. So I'd say like a week before I flew out here, I actually was like, oh, I should probably look up like things that would be fun to do out there. And so I looked up some stuff and I was trying to find stuff that was like what I call Australia-centric, meaning things that you can really only experience here. And what I started to notice was that the majority of stuff to do out here isn't really that different from what you can do in the States. Outside of doing like a mountain tour and outside of seeing certain kinds of animals like kangaroos or emus and certain kinds of birds, there really wasn't like a lot of stuff that I was noticing that was like all that different. Like, oh, you can go on an art tour. They got, museums and stuff where I live. Oh, you can go scuba diving. Well, I'm in California. You can go scuba diving if I want to. Oh, you can do surfing. You can go check out the beaches. You can like, all that stuff is here. All the stuff is in the States. So I planned out a few things here and there, but I figured I'd save the rest when I got here. I arrived in Sydney and the first day was raining and I basically walked around the city for a good like hour and a half because I had to wait to go to the hotel that I was staying at. And what I found was just the first day, it felt very much like an American city. Like it felt like a combination of St. Louis and New York, and with the train station here in Atlanta, although it's better than Atlanta's train station, it just felt like a collage of a bunch of cities that I have already been to in the States. So I've had a good time, but I don't think it was the same kind of good time that I had in Hawaii because Hawaii defied my expectations, whereas here, I'm just kind of getting the feeling of home. Like it feels like I traveled 14 hours to go to a city that's in the United States. And that's not necessarily a good or bad thing. It just doesn't make this feel like really a vacation experience. I've done a few things here that let me know for sure, oh, I'm in Australia. Like, I got to go to the Blue Mountains. I got to pet a kangaroo. That was freaking awesome. I got a picture with the kangaroo. I've got to eat some kangaroo meat. I got to see the Opera House here. I've been on the ferry several times now to do the water tour. But a lot of that stuff feels like stuff I could easily do in the United States. So I've made my own good time here, but there's nothing thus far that's really stood out. I just went on an Aboriginal tour where an actual Aborigine who were the first people here before the Britons came and took it over and killed people and all that stuff. But yeah, I went on a tour with this guy, and he showed me some of the historical portions of stuff. And I like history stuff, so I was very much entertained by that. But again, it's not really the same vacation feel that I thought I'd be getting. My Hawaii trip was 4 days, which is great. I planned this trip in Australia to be 8 days long. And much as I suspected, by the 4th day, I was already kind of like, wow, I'm kind of ready to go home. And it's not because Sydney's a horrible place. It's just that Sydney is not, there's nothing to do here. Like, you can only go to the Opera House so much. You can only see the bridge so many times. You can only see so many buildings. And after a point, you're just kind of like, okay, so I have to drive outside of Sydney to do some stuff. Like, and that's not a bad thing. It's just the city itself, there's not much to do. There's a lot of Asian food to eat here because a lot of Asians live here. And there's like tons of tours and stuff. But again, this is not anything I couldn't experience in the States. 8 days for me on vacation is too long. I need a good 4 or 5 days. If I'm with people, maybe 6, because then they can kind of throw some ideas out there. But this has been a heck of a long vacation. I could have been home 2 days ago playing Nintendo and watching my TV shows and being cool. And we still had a great time. On top of that, it was raining the first day I got here. And so 2 days later, I don't know if it's because it's the first week of spring here, so the weather would go from like 64, 65, all the way down to like 42 at night. And on the 3rd day, I got sick. So, I mean, I'm like talking like cough and phlegm, headache, feeling really, really tired. I'm just now getting over that. And I got like a day left here, okay? So my cough is down significantly. Trust me, this is nothing to what it was like last night when I couldn't sleep. So that definitely played a factor in my time here because, admittedly, when I went to Hawaii the first time, I'd gotten food poisoning the day before I flew out to Hawaii. But with that said, after the first day and a half there, I felt good enough to be able to go to the luau that I paid for and actually eat the food and not get sick. Whereas here, I spent a good 2 or 3 days not eating food, or not, I only ate maybe like 1 meal a day because I was like sick. And so I would literally plan to do like 1 or 2 things. I'd go out, I'd do that thing, then I'd go back to my Airbnb and I would nap. And the jet lag here, honestly, because I'm used to taking naps at home, I found that my nap times here were similar to what would be my bedtime at home. So I would take like 3 or 4 hour naps in the middle of the day and then be ready to go out at night on the days that I wasn't sick. So I don't think jet lag affected me too much other than I keep getting up at like 3 or 4 in the morning. And part of that, again, is because I couldn't sleep because I was coughing and because I was sick. So overall, I'd say in terms of this being the phase 2 Ender vacation, I had a good time. It wasn't as stellar as the Hawaii trip was, but I'm still glad that I came. It still signified the end of a goal that I was trying to accomplish. And now I can focus on my bigger goal. So my bigger goal is this. For the end of my phase 3, the big get, I want to have my life set up enough to where I have residual income coming in. Right now I have it where like I work enough stuff to have money coming in and not starve to death and be good and like be able to have a fun time. But I still don't have like that consistent money that's coming in whether I'm working or not. Like I'm on this vacation. When I get back home, I gotta do some work. I gotta do some videos. I gotta do some other things. But I want to have it set up where it's like I have, whether I have books that are being sold, I have music that's out there. I just want to have stuff that's coming in consistently so that way if there's a chance where I can't work, I still am going to be good, okay? And so once I get that goal, the phase 3 trip for that is Antarctica. And I want to do Antarctica solely for the fact that nobody I know is probably going to ever travel there. And for the fact that it's like the tip of the world. And it's a doable thing. They say on average 34,000 people a year do the trip to Antarctica. You catch a cruise from either Australia or from South America. And I've never been to South America, so that might be part of the goal also. Either way, the trip cost about $8,000 round trip. Now here's the thing. Also at that point, where I realized this vacation is, I think part of the reason I have good times on certain trips is because I have people with me. Like when I go to Vegas or do things when I bring my friends along, I have a great time because I'm not the only one planning stuff. I have people that I know that I can talk to. Whereas here it's been kind of a solo thing. Like I'm not really that guy that's gonna go out and try to just meet people that I don't know. So I'd like to be able to have somebody go with me on that vacation, whether it's a girlfriend, wife, other friends that are equally as rich as me at that point and can afford to go. But either way, I want my life set up to where I can not only have residual income coming in, but I can afford to take another person with me if necessary. And so that goal, hopefully I'll have it happen within the next 5 years. I really like to have it happen by the time I'm 40, if not sooner. And so I gotta start figuring out what it is that I'm gonna do that's going to allow that to happen. Because that trip, whether it's good or not, this will be freaking awesome to have a story about, right? So anyway, that's all for this video. I encourage you guys, I gotta get some water. For those of you that are like, don't really travel that much, or some people have been sending me messages saying, man, I wanna do that thing too. Traveling is not a hard thing to do. You just gotta save up for it. But more importantly, make it like a prize of some kind for a goal, a life goal that you wanna hit. That'll give you the motivation to not only hit that goal, but to also have a really great vacation afterwards as a result. So that's all I gotta say. I'm APT, and I'm gonna go get some water because I'm really about to cough a storm up. So I'm out. Peace.